Hello everyone, welcome to Monster Hunter Tier List. This is the Monster Hunter games on a tier list from North American release. There's one Japan game on here, but the rest are North American slash Europe. The biggest things to note of how I'm rating these games is what did this Monster Hunter bring to the series? And to break that down further, I'm looking at iconic moments and I'm looking at new mechanics and how that game played overall. That's what we're looking at. That's how we're going to rate it. So let's go ahead and get started. Actually, as always, this is just my opinion, okay? But if you don't agree with me, you're wrong. So, I like to start out every one of these opinion videos with that. Very fun. So what we're looking at here, we're gonna start with Monster Hunter Freedom 1. Because this is the first game I played, I gotta find, there we go, Monster Hunter Freedom 1. I'm gonna slap that in the C tier for now. Yeah, I'll just slap in the C tier for now. So Monster Hunter Freedom 1 is the first game I ever played. So it has its memories in that sense. I never beat it. I never got very far in it. I played it when I was very young, and I was very bad at the game. And this is one of the harder Monster Hunters, so it's tough for a kid. But it's pretty iconic. It's decent, it's flagship Rathalos. Mechanics of old Monster Hunter games are all kind of wonky and very basic, but it was good for its time, and I think, much like the original Monster Hunter, it is, just the first game that, we have to look at and think about as a Monster Hunter game. And it really only goes uphill from there, which is kind of the theme with these Monster Hunter games. It only gets better over time, with a few exceptions, but go ahead and slap Monster Hunter 2 Freedom, or Monster Hunter Freedom 2 in the B tier. I think this is a much better game than Monster Hunter Freedom 1 because I like Poke Village a lot, and this is actually the first Monster Hunter game that I played like the shit out of because my brother got me into it, and I have very fond memories of messing around, and on one of the first quests you get ambushed by the Tigrex, and it's very, very memorable. And since then, Tigrex has been one of my favorite monsters of all time. So I think, for me, this is a very sentimental and nostalgic game, uh, which brings me to Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, which I'm gonna put in the A tier. Monster Hunter Freedom Unite is these games put together, and their combined forces make a beautiful A tier game. This game is still playable today because it doesn't exactly improve on the mechanics of the first two, but it puts them together and it adds G rank and it adds like so much to the game, and it also introduces Nargacuga, one of the most popular monsters of the entire franchise. And it's an amazing game. I have a lot of great memories with it. If I took like Monster Hunter 1 and 2 playtime, I combined that and like double it, and that's how much I played Freedom Unite. And that was a very good game. I never beat it, but I got pretty far in it on my own. Which is one thing bad to say. Like, it's these old games you can't play with people anymore unless you have like a proxy server or you're playing locally. So it's kind of hard to go back to it if you're only playing by yourself, but it is still fun. Um, let's go ahead and rate the normal, just good old Monster Hunter. I'm gonna put this probably at the very bottom, D tier. The original Monster Hunter served its purpose, I would say. I never played it, but from what I saw when I looked at it, it's basically Monster Hunter Freedom, but just on the PS2. And Monster Hunter Freedom and Monster Hunter normal, like normal Monster Hunter, it's not the greatest, but it, like I said, it served its purpose because it created these games. This would never have been made without this game. So it's important in that right. Um, but it's not like a movie where the original movie is better than the newer movies. It's kind of goes the opposite way with Monster Hunter. But I think that's a good thing. Not a lot of franchises can say they made a sequel to a game and it's better than the one before it, you know? Um, that brings us to Monster Hunter Portable Third. So, like I said, was the only exception to my list was Monster Hunter Portable Third from being a Japan only release. The reason why I put it on this list, well, I haven't played Portable Third. I know that it's very popular, and a lot of people love it. And I have some friends who have played it and told me a lot about it, and they loved it. And Yukumo Village, which I got to fall in love with by playing Generations Ultimate, is a great village. A lot of great lore there, and the introduction of Zenogre. A lot of good stuff here for Portable Third. And then I looked this up. This is actually one of the best-selling Monster Hunter games, period. So that's pretty cool too, even though it only got released in Japan officially. I would put this in the B tier just because I had played it, but I think a lot of people would put it in the A tier. But for me, it's just going to go in the B tier, even though it probably is arguably better than Freedom Unite mechanically. That brings us to Monster Hunter Tri, I believe. Here we are. Monster Hunter Tri is an easy A tier for me. So much like these games, they had a progression of like, I played it more. It's the same for Monster Hunter Tri. And pretty much every other game on this list, aside from 2. Monster Hunter Tri is so important to me because this is the first time I played multiplayer Monster Hunter. I played online, I met friends. Some of those friends I still have today. And it is just, it's amazing. I love Monster Hunter Tri so much, and it meant so much to me. I still want to go back and play it. I started a YouTube playthrough back in the day of it, and I'd like to continue it. Let me know if you guys want to see that, but I would love to do it and show you guys like my old file and what it was like back then. All right, so Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, S tier. First S tier. Flagship Brachydios, also flagship Legiacris. Legiacris is amazing. And these two games, let's go ahead and talk about the underwater combat. A lot of people, this is gonna make these games go lower or higher. For me, higher. I love underwater combat, especially gunning. Gunning was so fun. Normal level 3, where it bounces and ricochets all over the place. So cool, so fun. I loved it. A little clunky, but at the same time, it was just beautiful. It added another aspect to the game that was done pretty well, in all things considered. You know, a lot of people want to talk trash on it, but I liked it a lot. These games were incredible. They're my first multiplayer experiences. They're some of the best moments I've ever had were playing these two games, and I would still go back to them and play them. 3U still has its servers running, so if you guys want to play that with me, do some like subscriber videos or something, you know, I could get that going, because that is a fun game. And I would replay it just like I'd replay 3 Tri. 3 Tri I never did another file on, but 3 Ultimate I think I beat 3 times. So I have like 3 different files on there. And that's a super fun game, man. I could talk about it all day. That game meant a lot to a lot of people. Or maybe it was like, oh, what, underwater sucks, I hate it. So hey, that's your opinion. So we got Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate next. Okay, so 4, I believe Monster Hunter 4 didn't come out in the US, but Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate did. Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate is amazing. I'm going to put it at the top of A tier. This game is really, really good. First of all, it has probably the best story out of any Monster Hunter game. And that seems crazy because Monster Hunter doesn't have a story, but this one actually kind of did. And it did it pretty well. And it had some... I think this game had the most monsters, or either most Elder Dragons, maybe both, than any other Monster Hunter game. So there's pure content in this one. And you, I don't know how many of these games had this, but this had the ability to make custom quests and stuff very easily. And I had some fun making custom quests and messing around with like really big monsters, really small monsters, like a really small Rajang, stuff like that. I had a lot of fun with this game. Unfortunately, it was only on the 3DS, and that does put it down for me. I think if it was on the Wii U, it would have been a bigger deal. But as it stands, it's still a very good game. A lot of people have this as their favorite game, and I completely understand that. But for me, it's not. So let's go on to Monster Hunter Generations, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. Generation's gonna get a B tier for me. I almost want to put it in C tier because this is the first game in the Monster Hunter series in a long time where I was like, eh, you know. But luckily, Generations Ultimate fixed that. But Generations by itself, like only being high rank, I was like, it's okay. I really didn't play it that much. I don't even think I beat it like when it came out. The systems, art system, art styles. What am I thinking of here? The arts, just the hunter arts. There we go. That's super fun. I love the hunter arts. I love the flagship monsters. My favorite, I believe it'd be probably Astalos, but I love all of them. They're all really cool. Gammoth is kind of lame, but he's also like just a mammoth, so give him a slap there. But Generations was decent. The problems with these like these half games, I call them, like Monster Hunter 3 Try, for example. It's only half the game that Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate is, you know? And even though Monster Hunter 3 Try is very different because it was actually in a different setting for the online realm, which is why it's special. Monster Hunter 3 Generation or Monster Hunter Generations is not like that. It's very much like we're releasing half the game. And that's a big hit for me. But Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, on the other hand, gonna be an easy A tier. I'm gonna slap it right here. This game is amazing. Valstrax, very cool monster. Flagships are still very cool. And probably the coolest thing about this game is people, and I guess the same goes for Generations, but I don't think Generations had this, what I'm about to say. But Generation Ultimate did for sure, was the Amatsu. The Amatsu was the big bad boss of Monster Hunter Portable 3rd. Monster Hunter Portable 3rd only released in Japan. So stuff like that in Yukumo Village, things like that, you would not be able to experience in America or North America in general or Europe if you didn't have a copy of Portable 3rd. But this game brought it back, and people were able to experience first time Amatsu, things like that, that were very special to a lot of people who played Portable 3rd. So I'm super hyped for that. This game was amazing. It brought back all the old Monster Hunters, or at least the four main Monster Hunter villages, and just combined it, and each one had their own flagship monster. Cool story and interlocking like that. The online is good. Switch. I hate that there's not not voice acting, but voice chat within the Switch itself. Um, and honestly, the Switch, Nintendo Online just in general sucks. But I can't dock Monster Hunter Generations for that. So A tier is good for me. All right, so let's go and rank. Monster Hunter World, Monster Hunter World Iceborne. If you're new to the channel, you might not know my disdain for Monster Hunter World, but I do not like Monster Hunter World, but I do understand its impact on the series. I'm going to put it probably C tier. Base World is very dry. A lot of people love it, and I get it, but it's not it for me. And for a lot of older fans, they just changed so much, and it's like a necessary evil for me because without it we wouldn't have such a big fan base like we do today. But by itself, Monster Hunter World wasn't that amazing. But Monster Hunter World Iceborne, I haven't played that much Iceborne, but I have played enough to know. that it is fixed Monster Hunter World for the most part. And I'm going to slap that in the A tier. Monster Hunter World Iceborne is very good. And with that, sorry, something I missed here. Monster Hunter World, although I didn't like it that much, Nergigante, the flagship there, one of my favorite monsters of all time. So it had some big hitters. But Monster Hunter World Iceborne, it added more to Monster Hunter World in every way, and it was a very important fix for a lot of people. But there's still a lot of problems with Monster Hunter World in general that I couldn't put it any higher. But I appreciate what Monster Hunter World did. Okay, I do. It might not sound like I do, but I do. Monster Hunter Rise. This is a tricky one. D tier, just kidding. Monster Hunter Rise is amazing. It is. I'm gonna say it right now. This game is gonna be the best Monster Hunter game that has ever come out, for sure. It is the best Monster Hunter game, period, because it makes what World did right, and it makes what all the old Monster Hunters did right, and it puts it together, and that's the important thing. This is what I wanted. Was Monster Hunter World was too new player. Monster Hunter, the old Monster Hunters were too old Monster Hunter. Let's mix it together and let's make everyone happy. And this is what this did, and it didn't do it in a bad way. I will safely put it in the S tier. This is going to be one of the greatest games out there. I want to make some videos on it. I want to play it. I want to show you guys why I think it's so good. But this is an amazing game, and it deserves the credit that it's getting so far. I don't know if other people share my opinion, but it's an amazing game. And if you haven't played it yet, I recommend you do. If you want to hold off for the PC version, I heard it's coming out next year. I'm gonna buy it in the PC. I'm definitely gonna play it there. That's gonna be my main platform. But it's gonna be the shit, man. Once G Rank comes out and everything, this is gonna be one of the best ones ever, for sure. And I'm excited to see what it's got in the future. It just recently came out that update. I haven't played all of it, but it had some Elder Dragons and stuff, so it's cool. But as it stands, it's still pretty damn good. And the cool thing is that there's not going to be a Monster Hunter Rise Ultimate. It's just going to be Monster Hunter Rise, and they're going to update it. So for once, Capcom isn't screwing us over completely. Completely. Yeah, that's what I think. I'm sure I pissed off some people. Maybe not. Maybe you totally agree with me, but this is what I got. If you want to make this tier list yourself or talk about in the comments, please do. I'll give you guys the tier list in the description. And if you want to see some Monster Hunter videos, what would you like to see? Let me know in the comments what you want to see, what you want me to do. And if I think it's a good idea, I'm definitely going to do it. So that's it for me, guys. See you later.